My primary organization within Star Citizen is the Vault-Tec Corporation. Here at Vault-Tec, we primarily focus on space real estate. With our fleet of pioneers, we'll build you the perfect outpost on a planet. Stop on by if you're interested. What's going on, YouTubers? This is Sir6 here, bringing you more Star Citizen content. Today, I want to talk about PvP versus griefing within Star Citizen. Here are my thoughts. Now, this is a very difficult subject to talk about. The reason why is because this game is still well within alpha, so there isn't much content at the time being. And yes, I understand that they just released the roadmap to Q4, but there still will not be a lot of content that will allow people to deviate from PvP. So, people will get bored quickly. And what that would lead to is usually people going down to Jumptown and either camping or liberating it, of all people. In fact, I remember watching one of Commander Stove's video. It was just a regular recording of him flying around with a saber doing PvP by himself. He had no help whatsoever, and the people in the comments were bashing him, saying he was griefing because the ships did not shoot back at him while he was engaging them. They were saying he had no purpose. And this is where I have to disagree. But before I digress about what my thoughts are on griefing in Star Citizen, let's first take a look at a couple definitions of griefing. Here are two that I found. The first is player versus player abuse, singling out the same person and killing them over and over when they're defenseless until they log off. The second one I found is a person who harasses or deliberately provokes another player or member in order to spoil their enjoyment. So the second definition kind of fits this realm of friendly people just going down to JT to make some money with cargo. The first reason I believe this is not griefing is because once you leave Armistice Zone, anyone could technically engage you. So you aren't safe just anywhere. And of course, with the future playing of the Armistice Zone to go away, you technically will quote-unquote never be safe. Anyone could kill you, but obviously there'll be a punishment system. For me, leaving Armistice Zone always puts me on edge. I'm always assuming someone will shoot me. You can't just assume that players are always going to be friendly in this game. I don't really do much combat myself, and yeah, I have my series called AOT, but other than that, again, I don't enjoy combat. I just enjoy understanding ships and how to use them to their maximum potential. Me personally, I love hauling, and I love the industrial side of Star Citizen, and I can't wait for there to be more. So me personally, I should be on the bandwagon for all the people who just want to be left alone and want nothing to do with combat. But that's just not the case. So when you fly down to JT, you should always, hands down, have an escort. You should not assume that players are going to be friendly, because you've seen all the videos of people doing blockade runs, doing all these combat raids, or going down and hiding inside Jumptown and blasting you once you get there. The funny thing is with one of the last Around the Verses we had before the end of 2018, Chris Roberts and Sandy Gardner were ecstatic by the fact that JT was pretty much content for PvP. The reward versus risk aspect that brought people something to do made the creators of the game thrilled by the fact that people were testing the game at that given location. Again, this just builds on top of my argument about how you going down to Jumptown unprepared, assuming people will be friendly, isn't griefing. It's just part of the game. Remember folks, PvP doesn't have to be consensual. If it was, then it would be called a duel. PvP is a player attacking another player, regardless if you want to be shot at or not. And as a result, people are salty that they became the victim because somebody came down there for a fight. Now let's say if that person knows you legitimately and follows you around the verse, server hopping and constantly killing you and making the game unplayable, then that is definitely a form of griefing. But if you go alone, I'm sorry, but that's on you. But don't get me wrong, I made the same mistake myself once too. I woke up, popped into Star Citizen, but on a server with 3 people, and it was like, booyah, I'll do some JT runs. Nobody in my org was really on, so I took the risk by grabbing my cat and flying down to JT and filling her up with drugs. About halfway through my stock up process, I hear another ship come in, and I stopped and said, well crap. I did not pay attention to my surroundings, and I looked on the server and saw that it was full. And by the time I exited my Moby class, I heard whoever it was start shooting my cat. And of course, I had to accept the fact that it was on me because I didn't hire an escort and I wasn't paying attention. I assumed that anybody that was going to come down was going to be friendly and just wanted to trade. With that as a result, I lost 1 million UEC worth of cargo. Now instead of being butthurt, I just chose to kill myself and then go do different cargo running. Again, this wasn't griefing. That player was well within his or her rights. Think about if you're doing a mission and you randomly encounter another player doing a mission, and you have to be careful, because what if they're going to kill you and then do their mission and be on their way? I've seen this before, but again, this isn't griefing. It's just part of the game mechanic. So then, what would be considered griefing then, if this is all within fair gameplay? Well, here's an example. I pull a ship for Port Alizar. I run out there, and I'm about to hop into my ship, but right before I do, some random person flies in with a bigger ship or of equal size and rams it. By ramming it, it causes my ship to fly off the pad and spinning out of control into space. And at this point, my hands are tied. I cannot do anything to that player because of Armistice Zone, so all I can do is reclaim my ship and wait for another one. This is griefing. This player is legitimately going out of their way to ruin a person's gameplay experience. Again, once a more dynamic universe is in place, people will be less bored. PvP in general will calm down just a little bit because consequences will be in place, like the death mechanic, loss system, standing system, and bounty hunt. And of course, just more content in PvP in general. All these ships will have a purpose within the verse, and fuel and flight model changes will reinvent the wheel for most players. So, with all this said, how do we avoid this issue as of 3.4.3? Well, I strongly feel like if you in general prefer the solo gameplay, you could be messed with compared to people who run in groups. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to avoid griefers, but generally speaking, they target players that they can actually do something to, in order to get a reaction, and it's harder to do so if you have people to counter them. Another thing is stop announcing your presence to the world that you are a friendly person in a certain type of ship going down to do a JT run. You make yourself a target to people who are looking for a fight. If you're going to JT, keep it low key. Remember, loose lips sinks ships, or in this case, gets them blown up. Tag along with people who have similar intentions. For example, the Star Citizen Reddit Discord is a great place to hang out with people who play the game. These people are willing to fly with you, and they're willing to make friends with you. I'll link this in the description below if you want to hang out and just play the game with fellow backers. Overall, there are hundreds of scenarios that I left out, but I hope you get the picture. It's just how the game is, honestly, and it's how most multiplayer games are overall. And all you EVE players know this, that it can be very, very unforgiving. But all new players, please don't feel threatened by this. There will be pirate orgs out there, but if you find the right people, then stick with them. After all, it's all about having fun, and that is what this game is all about. Once again, I want to hear your thoughts. Let's continue this topic in the comments. Tell me why you agree or disagree with me. I'm open ears. As usual, I thank you for spending your time with me. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button, and feel free to subscribe for more content if you are new. But with that being said, I will see you on the flip side.